Welcome to Hudson Valley Unleashed, the podcast that pulls the curtain back on one of America's best-kept hidden gems and the surprising people that live here, New York's Hudson Valley. Listen each week as John, Josh, and Dave have a fun chat with national and local luminaries that will make you beg the question, what don't I know about the Hudson Valley yet? I'm Dave Leonard, former program director of WDST and co-founder of WKZE, host of Radio Unleashed. With me is chef owner Josh Kroner, culinary creative force behind the Hudson Valley's Terrapin restaurant, and comic writer, pop culture expert, and owner of the only black-owned comic book store in New York State, John Michelle. Running the show behind the scenes is Jacob Hutchings, producing the show, keeping us on point, making sure that we all have fun and sound great. Our podcast is supported by...
Looking to stay warm and cut down on energy bills? Call Hudson Valley Green Insulation. We specialize in open and closed cell spray foam insulation for homes and businesses across the greater Hudson Valley. Hudson Valley Green Insulation. Seal in comfort, save with confidence. Call or text 845-242-0021 or email us at hvgi.optonline.net.
So I want to welcome today my very good friend Paul Schiavo. Paul has had an incredibly diverse career in the music industry for over 15 years, working with iconic musicians such as John Mayer, Donna the Buffalo, Natalie Merchant, Dave Matthews Band, Phish, Rush, Aretha Franklin, Robert Randolph, Government Mule, My Morning Jacket, and many others. And then after that, he decided, you know what I'd like to do? I like to fish. And I actually knew that was coming because Paul and I used to fish all the time. But so Paul shifted gears, dropped the music industry, and just opened a fishing store and became a fishing guide. Amazingly, he's doing what he loves.
Love it.
So we welcome you today, Paul.
Welcome, Paul.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Yeah,
all right.
That's good. Barry White's in the studio.
Barry White in this
Paul,
motherfucker.
you were born here, then moved to Oklahoma? And
Yeah.
you
So my whole family was from Brooklyn, Manhattan. My grandparents, my parents. I was like in third grade. My dad worked for GM, so we moved to Oklahoma because they opened a big plant there.
Yes,
so I grew up in Norman.
Yep.
Went to Norman High School.
Where my
OU.
mom, my grandparents, everyone, all of that world.
How crazy.
How crazy.
Yeah.
And then after high school, I went to college. I went to OU, and then I moved to New York, moved back. I took an internship as an engineer at Bearsville. I wound up hitting the lottery, so to speak, as far as being a young budding engineer and not getting fired in the first 3 months I worked there, because it was like, okay, you're an intern, so you're like fetching bagels and coffee, and it's like, but I got skills. And they're like, yeah, we know. You think you got skills.
Even if I don't, I can fake it better than anyone else.
Yeah. He wouldn't have made the cut. But I had been recording, and I've been a bass player for so long and did a bunch of little bullshit, but that was like a great time to be at that studio because you were there.
Oh, I was.
You remember everything.
Yeah, I was doing radio, and all the bands were coming in. I was putting them on the air, running the show.
Yeah,
it was great.
Like the first two records I actually got to work on were Dave Matthews,
Right.
and, on Crash, and then
You work on Phish?
Phish.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And then I did two records with Phish.
Which Phish records do you remember?
Oh, I do.
Down with
Barely.
Barely. I know there was a live one.
The first one.
Hoist was it then or no?
Hoist was done before I came. That was
Okay.
John Altschuler was the producer on that. But the Billy Breathes record
Right.
was the one that I got assigned to do this session for. And that was Steve Lillywhite
Oh, man.
and John Sickett were the producers, who also did Crash and Under the Table and Dreaming. So it was that team that they hired. And so it was 4 months.
That album was so well engineered. I mean,
Thank you. One of the funnier stories about that time frame was we were making that record, that Billy Breathes record with Phish, and we had already been in the studio for like a month and a half. And one day we showed up. I think we were cutting like vocals and stuff. I have some great pictures from that. I'll show you guys sometime. But we were cutting vocal tracks, and everybody's supposed to be there because those guys could actually sing. They could sing 4-part harmony. They're fucking beast musicians. And it really, like, I don't have to tell you, it's Phish. They really honed their craft, whatever you want to say about it. They were fucking geniuses. But one guy didn't show up. And I won't say his name, who's the drummer.
Oh, we all know who it is. Come on, we all know who didn't show up.
Fishman doesn't show up for the session. And at the time, this is 96, right? And the only person that had a cell phone was Mike Gordon. right? And Mike had one of those giant brick cell phones, but he'd sit out in the parking lot in this green Volvo. Trey had a Isuzu Trooper because they just drove from Burlington and they leave their cars there. Sometimes they go home, but we were embedded for months. But anyway, to go back, that day, he does not show up, right? John Fishman is not on site. And Lillywhite's like, well, I guess John's not coming. And so we're like, yeah, okay, well, that's not good. And then he didn't show up for 2 days.
Oh, shit.
Right? So it turns out he went to Baton Rouge, Louisiana on a whim.
From Bearsville.
So he shows back up a couple days later, and I'm like over there, like turning knobs. Like, I don't know shit. I'm not paying. And I was waiting for the shit to go down. These guys are from Vermont. They're very civil. They didn't yell, scream. Nobody said shit. And then Trey goes, Paul, he goes, we want to do a gig in town. We're going to be here. They weren't going home for like a couple of weeks now. We were going to dig in hard and, work on this stuff. And I said, okay, well, I'll go down to the Joyce Lake. Right, Dave? At the time, remember Peter?
Pete,
the little trollish type fellow. So anyway, I go in and I go, Pete, we have a band up at the studio and they want to do a gig because these guys want to play gigs and they want to exercise some of the new material or whatever. And he goes, well, okay, how about Tuesday? Or whatever the fuck day it was. It wasn't like a Friday. And
Tuesday's a good day
Tuesday,
around here.
it was like 3 days away. And so I go back to the studio and I go, hey guys, I got a gig. we're good. And he goes, and I go,
4:30 p.m.
Yeah, 4:30 till 4:30. So he goes, well, what are they called? And I go, well, I can't tell you that because I don't know what they want to be called. And I didn't divulge who it was exactly, of course. So I go back to the studio and I go, we got the gig. And they go,
Soft white underbelly.
close. Close.
Kathleen
you can look
Turner Overdrive.
Yeah, Bachman Turner overweight. So what I told them was, I said, look, you're good and we can do this. And I said, but we got to have a name. And John Fishman goes, Third Ball. That's the name. I swear to God. The next day, I go back. I tell Peter. He goes, and remember they had the sandwich board on the street out in front of the club.
Yeah.
It said, Tuesday, Third Ball. Somehow, and I'm sure it was John's fault.
It got leaked.
Fishman. Everybody found out.
Like I was on the air, and I remember found out. And
you
I was
remember?
Like, yeah, oh yeah. It was out of control.
It was fucking chaos. So
it was like 3 hours. It was like 4 or 5 o'clock when at least I found out.
Yes,
and all of a sudden it was talking and
Yep. Because Fisherman told his girlfriend.
People were coming into town, and people were calling me left and right.
Yep.
I'm like, I don't know who Third Ball is.
Exactly.
Third Ball?
I was on the air. Remember? Anyway.
Yeah. No, that's a good time. That's like when JFK got shot for you. Like Phish is coming tomorrow. Yeah. That was a really fun time and a great time for Woodstock.
Yeah.
Great time for the studio. And that era again, like from 95 to 98. I think we did like 11 platinum records out of that studio.
Jesus, man.
And we were playing them all.
And
on
I
the
got
radio.
credit on one of them.
Which one?
Congratulations.
I'm just kidding. People were good.
So it's funny, that brings us right up to the year that I met both
That's
of you
when I
guys
met
in
you.
98.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
I met you both in 98.
That's right.
We were
I
tossing disc, and you were what were you doing?
Probably nothing.
No, what happened with Paul and I was that one of the first waitresses I hired was Amy Owens.
My beloved ex-wife.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love Amy.
Yes, who doesn't?
Yeah, Amy.
She's the best.
And then Paul came in to pick up Amy, and we instantly hit it off.
Yeah, that was it, man. That was it. And then
Brother
we're like,
from another mother.
yeah, totally. And then
A good woman brings great men together.
That's right. That's right. But Josh and I used to hang out late night at the old Terrapin.
Yeah, dude.
And just
That
have
was
so
the
much
party.
Have so much fun over there. It was such a great time. Oh
So
my God.
I was looking at your list, and I've
don't
known you
wanna
for so
see
long of all of these incredible artists. I know that you had a brief interlude with John Mayer. Would you like to share that story with us?
Oh,
love
Johnny. Oh, Johnny. Johnny was a good boy. No.
Did you bring him into the studio, or you were going to bring him in, and then a week later something happened?
Yeah, it was funny. Here's how that happened.
And now a word from our sponsors. Need reliable plumbing or heating services? TC Plumbing and Heating has you covered. We handle residential and commercial projects of all sizes, from leaky faucets to full system installs. We're fully licensed and insurers, offering free estimates and fast, dependable service you can trust. Call or text 914-388-2863 today. TC Plumbing and Heating. Your comfort, our commitment.
After I worked with Natalie, I got off the road and I got a phone call from David McDonald, not that David McDonald.
Not the Doobie Brothers.
From David McDonald, who used to be the tour manager for Dave Matthews. So not him. Not him called me.
You can't start it
And not
finish it.
I get it.
Like,
Yep. And he was very busy managing David Gray at the time. So he asked me, he goes, look, can you go out and do this tour with John Mayer, this kid? He's about to pop. Like, they had a lot of juice behind him, obviously. So I said, what is it? And he's like, tour manage, engineer. It's 6 weeks. There's a lot of radio plays and stops along the way and a lot of college like stuff. So they had molded John to be the next Dave Matthews. And John Mayer wanted nothing more than to be Dave Matthews. Yeah. He was like, and he's like, you worked on that. And he's like, I want him, and John got what he wanted, even when he was 26 years old.
He was crafting.
Yeah,
his career.
he was honing the whole thing. So I went out on this tour. The first gig was like in Atlanta, because that's where John was from. So we fire up this tour. Every fucking show we went to, there were 1,000 girls standing outside Valdosta, Georgia. University of Florida. It didn't matter where we went to, Nashville, all over. They were lined up out the fucking door, like hours before we got. And the record came out that week.
Jesus.
Like, he was already like really happening, in this scene. And that Corn Capshaw red light management machine was like, we're going to take, because Dave Matthews conquered and wrote the book on the college, like,
right,
we're
totally.
gonna play every frat party,
yeah.
and we're going to do it everywhere. We're going to, fabricate this in every market in the country. And they did it with him, and it was working, like, out of the gate.
This was a 6-week gig for you?
6 weeks.
Did you make it 6 weeks?
I didn't make the 6 weeks. Yeah, I love where you're going with it. So we started the tour. We move along, and now I'm starting to realize I'm having a problem with this guy. As a tour manager, your job is to herd cats and make sure that everybody's out of the bus, out of the hotel, sound check, load in, everything's cool. You're a liaison for the record label, the radio, whatever it is, and you got to make sure they do their thing. Because if you don't, then you're going to hear from New York or LA, and then it's me in the shit seat.
You were the grown-up?
No. I was supposed to be.
I was saying 5 weeks, now I'm thinking 4 weeks.
Yes, keep cutting it down. Come on, keep going. So I think it was about the third week of the tour. We had a show in Memphis, Tennessee, and it was a bigger show. Most of these were club gigs. 500.
This had older women, not just teenage women.
No, there was still teenagers and college chicks, but there were more of them.
Yeah.
So we show up at this fucking baseball stadium, but it was small.
Yeah, but it's still a stadium.
But it was like,
for
now
like
we're going to
kid.
do 5,000 people tonight, most likely. So we load in, sound check. I take them 2 blocks away, Dave and John, to have dinner. I gave them their per diem. And I go back to the baseball field because I have to deal with all these other people while they're eating, right? And the promoter there was in direct contact with the record label at the time, which was Aware Records, right?
Of course,
and
Hootie and David, all those guys.
Yes. And it was not a joke. This was kind of a big pivotal gig on this tour. So long story shorter, so I go back to the bar. John Mayer's sitting there and he's eating, and Dave's fucking wasted already, the bass player. So I go, John, we got to, kind of move it on. He goes, I kind of just want to hang out for a minute. And I go, John, we have to go to the gig. The record label's there. Everybody's there. We have to do this. And he's like, yeah, but I'm just, So I called Michael McDonald in New York. And I go, Mike,
Can you talk to this
I can't get this fucking kid on the stage. I go, I don't know what to do. And he goes, just fucking get him there. Okay. Because he had already gotten 2 phone calls from the promoter, and they're like, well, fuck, all right. And they're freaking out because it's a half hour before you're hitting. And eventually I get his ass out of there. I get him to the stage, and I'm pissed. And 3 weeks in, I'm like, I'm going to kill this fucking guy, So after the gig, the promoter had already yelled at me. I called Michael again, and I'm like, I just don't think I got it in me for 3 more weeks of this shit. And he goes, I'm going to book you first class ticket back tonight. I said, okay. Send me to Charlottesville. I had Fonzie pick me up. Stefan picked me up at the airport. And that was it. So take this to the bank. The next week, the record goes to number 1, right?
Yeah.
Here's the kicker, and one of the worst kick in the balls ever in my musical career. He offered me, and I don't know how you're going to do this later. I'm just telling you guys. He gave me 10% of John Mayer's management contract.
What?
He had 20% of John Mayer. He goes, I have to manage David Gray, and I have to concentrate on this. Yeah, John was bubbling up, and it was going to pop. But he's like, you do this run, you got 10%. You got half of the deal. I'd have $40 million right now. Okay. One of my biggest fuck ups.
I remember seeing you in the hallway, the studios, and you told me that, and I started playing his album a little less.
Hey, listen.
They're like, how much is Paul? How much is John?
I'm gonna tell you one thing though, just personally about him. The fucking kid was amazing. He was a songwriting machine. He had fucking chops like nobody's fucking business.
That's how I knew before.
I ran into him 3 years later at the Madison Square Garden. I went to see Stefan, and Dave Matthews was playing at the Garden. And I went and I sat with Jeff Bagby at front of house in the center of the fucking floor. And it was me and my ex-wife. And there's like 3 people up there besides the engineers that are working. And I'm like, this guy is like right here. And I'm like, I look over and it's John. And I haven't seen him since. And he looks at me, he goes, hey man, how's it going? I'm looking at him like
I'm trying to do math in my head.
No. And I'm like, you owe me $40 zillion. No. But now, so I look at him, I'm talking to him, I'm like, hey John, yeah, it's cool. We bury that. And I'm looking over his shoulder. There's 4,000 girls screaming, while Dave is on stage with a sold out Madison Square Garden.
Right.
They're fucking screaming. And I'm like, oh, they're yelling for me.
Obviously.
I go, John, don't turn around.
I think that I went to that show with you.
You might have been there too.
I did. Yeah, I remember that.
You're one of the other 3. There you go.
That's it. Yeah, it was.
They were all screaming for Josh, actually.
They were probably screaming for Josh. He said, come on. That's like,
I got to ask you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you.
This is old stuff.
It would seem that you have you've worked on some things.
Couple things.
Couple 2, 3 things.
Couple 2, 3 things.
What is your favorite project that you've worked on?
My favorite project?
Yeah.
The greatest thing that I ever got to do in
music?
For me personally. Like when I was very young, I learned how to play bass listening to Led Zeppelin and Rush.
Nice.
And I worked with Rush. I did a Rush record.
Oh, no shit.
Working Man? No, sorry.
Yeah, not that old, Dave. There were only 2 people that I was starstruck by ever. But Geddy Lee fucked me up for a minute. And then we got to know each other, and the time went on, and we made this record.
He's your personal bass god.
He was one of them, for sure. If I
And
met
why
John
wouldn't he be?
Yeah. But
Neil Peart would have done that for me.
So Neil and I had a great relationship, better than the other guys. So over the course of that record that we did, we got snowed in Bearsville in '96. We got fucking pounded with the snowstorm.
That's
Remember
when I
that?
had John Sebastian on the air for 6 hours.
You couldn't leave the radio station. I know. But Neil and I went snowshoeing around the studio and smoked a joint together. And then the next day, we're like in there fucking around getting drum sounds, which wasn't easy because we had 80 fucking mics on his kit. But he's like, go ahead. I'm like, I'm going to fucking not air drum anymore and actually play the kit. That was fucking awesome.
And now a short break. Mega Brain Comics, located in the Hudson Valley's Red Hook, New York, is the only black-owned comic book store in New York State. They cater to local and online customers with a deep focus on historically underrepresented folks in the LGBTQIA and BIPOC communities, as well as girls and women, people with disabilities, and the uniquely neurodivergent. Comic shops are an endangered species, and Mega Brain would appreciate any purchase you can make on their website, but also strongly encourage you to seek out and visit the closest comic book shop to your home and show them some support too. Find them at megabraincomics.com and also on Instagram at megabraincomics and on Blue Sky at megabrain.bsky.social.
I just love how you have so many stories. So much of your life has been rock and roll. I think like a lot of us.
Sure.
And at what point did you? I mean, have you phased out of that? Sounds like you sort of have. I haven't seen you in a little while.
I mean, I gig once in a while. I played with Chicken and Joe Magistro and some other guys and Ben Porowski at the Pines. A few months ago, we did a nice little thing, a bunch of Chicken songs actually, and it was really great. And we're going to do that again soon, but not as much playing as I'd want to do necessarily. But the other passion in my life has always been fishing.
Has it always been fishing?
Always. Since I was
that's
a kid.
really the
Josh
thing
and
that
I
we
bonded so hard on
We would fish
fly
at least
fishing.
3 days a week.
And he actually was fly fishing way before most people I knew.
Yeah, but
Josh-
I was a shitty fly fisherman, whereas you're now
but you were doing
an
it.
amazing fly
But
fisherman.
you were doing it. Josh and I had a bunch of awesome outings fishing together.
So when did you start fishing?
When I was like 5.
Oh, so like you've literally just
I've been
always
fishing my whole life. When I moved to Oklahoma as a kid, we didn't have cold water streams.
We would go to
didn't-
Colorado. We'd go to the
what-
Panhandle, right?
Exactly. Yeah. In Oklahoma, we have bass ponds and lakes, and it's catfish and bass and warm water species fish.
Yeah.
So when I moved back to New York and in the mid 90s, I started to dabble a little more into the history and knowing what that was about up here. And it's a deep history. A lot of people don't realize that fly fishing in North America was born in the Catskills. It wasn't
really?
Well, Montana and Colorado and those places weren't states till 150 years later.
Yeah.
Our forefathers of fly fishing, not to get too deep, were like Theodore Gordon, and these guys are like guys with big gray beards and like tying a fly.
with a 3-piece suit on.
Yeah, tweed. But yeah, the fishing thing has always been a part of my life. And then coming back to New York, I'm like, this is where I was born. I'm never leaving here. I knew it when I came back. I raised my kids here, I got married, all that stuff, and settled here. And I dug in hard. And I learned how to fly fish by trial and error mostly until I got with somebody who really helped me hone the way to approach a river, how to find fish. Entomology is a huge part of that. That was, believe it or not, was a fucking Okie buddy. I grew. It was John Mayer. It was John Fishman. It was actually Carrie Lamb,
right, Carrie.
my buddy from
Oklahoma.
Norman.
Wow.
Who, long story, but somehow his ex-wife now, her family had a place up in the Catskills since the 50s. So when I rekindled my relationship with him way back, he's like, I'm fly fishing now. And I'm like, well, I have a fly rod, but I never use it. So I started.
It literally looks like the hardest thing to do in the world.
It looks hard. It's not as hard as you think. It can be.
John, it's actually as hard as you think.
It's pretty hard.
I mean, the two main types of fly fishing are dry fly fishing, which is kind of the classic where you're just trying
River runs through it.
to land a little dry fly to act like a bug floating on the water. But the truth is that more fish eat off the bottom.
Yeah.
And that's called nymphing. So what you have to do is you have to bounce this fly along the bottom of the river. I've done this, and it is so fucking hard because these trout, especially the big trout, they're so smart. They take the fly in their mouth for a second. They're like, that's not
spit it right.
That's
He's like,
not
wait
an
a
insect.
second.
And they spit it out.
Those aren't real tits.
Those aren't pillows.
So you have to, like, and you can't see this. So you have to somehow sense with the force some sort of Jedi
That's right.
shit that it just went into its mouth and set the hook.
That's the
right.
4-week course.
That's the 4-week course. But yeah, that was a big pivotal thing for me where I really wanted to do that. I was still doing my music business stuff and all that, but I was
You had that going as
every minute I had.
It wasn't
Even
a
when
hustle. It was more of just a passion.
No, it was a straight passion.
Okay, right.
Even when I was on the road for years, like up to 2003 before I started Mountain Jam with Gary and all that stuff, I had my fly rod in the bus with me, and every place we went, I'm fucking out the door.
I had the hacky sack and frisbee, and you had the
Same
kick
shit.
ass.
Yeah,
I
same
get
shit.
it.
I've known you, Paul, for close to 30 years,
Yeah.
and I've never met anybody that is into fishing as much as you. And it was contagious.
You're pretty into it, too.
Well, for me,
though.
too, because of your
Yeah.
enthusiasm for fishing, it got me really into it back in the time when we were in our 30s and
Yeah.
were able to get out on the river. We both lived down in the
Before we had
Catskills.
walkers. Yeah.
Right. So, hearing you now kind of shift gears and become a fishing guy just seems so amazing.
Yeah.
Like, you just want to see something like that.
Well-
like somebody be able to do something that's truly your passion
My
and actually
office
get
is
paid
the,
for
is
it.
the, is the
That's
river
what I was going
now.
to say. I mean, the one common thread here is that we have taken our passion
Yeah.
and made a living out of it.
Yes.
Which is a treat unto itself.
kidding?
I mean, you've done with music and switching
That's-
over to this.
That's
but-
very
That's
true,
a
Dave.
blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is what that
Absolutely.
is. That's a blessing and a calling. And if you can fulfill even a part of that in your life, then you've achieved something you love to do, and genuinely doing it, not being a fucking person that goes out there and it's like, it's a money grab thing. It's like, I want people to have the same feeling that I have, that we have when we go out there and we connect with nature and we connect with the fish. And as a ecological conservationist part of that too, my Trout Unlimited chapter here is amazing, and we are stewards of the water. We
Are you
protect
doing
the
everything
water.
in the Hudson Valley?
I guide all over the Catskills.
Okay.
But I do guide in Colorado too. When I'm there, I'll guide people in Crested Butte and Gunnison County mostly.
You do salmon up north, too, don't you?
Salmon up north on the Salmon River in Pulaski and Altmar. So we do a lot of stuff up there. And what's our off season here is steelhead and salmon season up north. But now I opened Catskill Outfitters 6 years ago.
Where is that?
That is located on
I
Route
know where it
28
is,
in
but-
Phoenicia, right next to Woodstock Brewing in the plaza. I have 6 guides. They're all amazing guys, and some of them I've known forever. 2 of them are hiking, camping guides. So we do a whole bunch of different things. We have
Do you have current like just regular like special projects? Or hey, this is the season and it's coming here and just sign up, or just like
Well,
hey,
it's
introduction to
there's a whole bunch of menu items, right? So in a nutshell, we do half day, full day guided trips. So we do 4 hours, 7 hours, and we take people out on the rivers, and sometimes they're novices, first timers.
I was gonna say, like, because you have a husband and wife, and the wife is expert and husband's not, or vice versa.
Absolutely.
Like, okay.
That's it.
So
That's
if you
a
come up
common
from
scenario.
the city and you don't know shit,
Many
you
of
can
those.
sell them equipment, you can sell waiters,
All
you
of
can
that.
sell all of that
Yeah,
stuff. So
yeah, that's part of the thing. But I liken it to when I became a firefighter 13 years ago, and I tell these newer kids that come in that they're like, I want to be. I'm like, if you want to do this so you can be a hero, you're doing it for the wrong reason. And the fly fishing thing is the same thing. I genuinely cannot take somebody's money and bring them out on the river and not give them as much as I possibly can until they can't absorb anymore. And that's kind of the hard part of being a guide and being a good guide. And I learned from a really great guy in Colorado who's a master guide, and he taught me a lot, was that you have to be able to size people up very quickly, know what their aptitude is, and how much you can give them of your knowledge and skill set
In the
before
amount of
it's
time that
counterintuitive for them and fucks them up out there.
And now a word from our sponsors.
At Sproutworks in Rhinebeck, we specialize in landscape and hardscape that lasts. Retaining walls, drainage, and full excavation work. Need a basement installed, concrete drilled, or a dump truck on site? We've got the gear to handle the heavy lifting. Locally owned, fully insured, and ready to roll. Call us at 518-567-4928. Sproutworks, built on solid ground.
We do overnight camping, fishing trips, and so I'll do corporate stuff, getaways, and I work with a lot of lodges and different places around. So we'll do casting lessons for guests at Auto Camp or East Wind, Urban Cowboy, all that kind of stuff, just to engage people, give them something to do. But those trips are important to us because I think more of the job is not about, okay, you paid somebody some money to take you out for an experience, and so you can put waders on and have an Instagram selfie.
The city slickers.
It's like, I'm like, no, we're not
midlife
doing
crisis.
that. No, we're gonna learn about the Esopus Creek. It's 75% of the water supply for New York City.
I'm on vacation.
Yeah, exactly. The company is Catskill Outfitters, CatskillOutfitters.com. You can go on, you can book a trip. We do 101 courses and all kinds of personal fly fishing, educational stuff. We do kids stuff, husbands, wives, groups, bachelor party, all that good stuff. And then just the diehards that want to come out and fish. We're located next to Woodstock Brewing in Phoenicia on Route 28. You can buy waders, boots, rods, reels, book trips, take hikes. We do snowshoe trips in the winter, overnight camp, fish, hike trips, and all that kind of stuff.
Amazing. When does the season start for fishing?
Believe it or not, it doesn't end in the Catskills.
It doesn't.
So March to December.
Yeah.
And we'll be booked all the way through December 1st.
Nice.
So the rainbow spawn begins in the spring. Those rainbows are coming out of the Ashokan Reservoir and moving up into the system to spawn. And then it gets really good right through probably July. It slows down a little. The fish get a little sluggish.
It's a little hot.
And then in the fall,
That's when you got to go spearfishing.
that's spearfishing time. And then October to
Just like Tom Hanks.
exactly October to December, the brown trout spawn and they move up in the system. So it's a good time to catch a trophy in the spring and in the fall for a rainbow or a brown, and then everything in between.
So
That's
Paul,
awesome.
Okay. What this interview has taught me is that you are a dyed-in-the-wool Hudson Valley man. So I'm going to ask you, especially being somebody that has apparently trekked all around this valley, what is your favorite place in the Hudson Valley?
My favorite
And
place
that
is
could be a stream. That's okay.
you know what, Dave, you're onto something. One of them is the Neversink Gorge, which is an amazing anomaly in the Catskills. It's a canyon system of cold water that flows through the southern Catskills.
Okay.
That's unbelievable. The Neversink River system is one of the most beautiful gems of the Catskills,
Oh,
and it's one of
cool.
my favorite places to guide and fish.
Okay.
And yeah, I love it there.
Yeah,
I mean,
Dave?
do have, so I'm intrigued. I don't want to guess, but Hudson Valley is just a beautiful 4-season place. We're very lucky that
Yeah.
way. Do you have a favorite season here in the Hudson Valley?
Fall.
Okay.
Fall.
Period.
Always.
Fall, period.
October.
Boom.
October for me is like the most beautiful time of year in the Hudson Valley and the Catskills. As an angler and a hiker and all that shit, it's like Mother Nature is transitioning and doing her magic. We have this beautiful foliage. The fish are full of color. They're fattening up for the winter. There's really good fishing. Sometimes there's some leaves in the water, but you might snag a few of those. But definitely October is
Nice.
my favorite time of the year.
Cool.
Very cool.
So our last question is about your favorite event. And
Ever?
In the Hudson Valley.
In the last few years, I've found that I really have had a good time at Bel Air Mountain at Oktoberfest. It's been fun. It's family. I love Hunter Mountain, but you go up to Bel Air for Oktoberfest, and there's families there. You run into the local yokes, and then there's some other people there. But
Oh, it's
But
huge.
I-
You have thousands of people going.
thousands.
Yeah.
But I like the sense of community. So it's really that's a good question because it's a lot of different events that happen. I love food. I love having a cocktail or a beer. I like fishing. I like being outside. So any of those events that
The Hudson Valley is a great place for all of
it's
those
really,
things.
You're like
it really
yeah.
nails.
Gerard Depardieu and the Three Musketeers.
It's a Depardieu
I
vibe.
love food. I love women. I love big farms.
So Paul, I want to thank you for coming. I
Thank
love
you.
you.
I
You're
love
my
you
brother,
too, bro.
And
Thank you.
You really have an amazing life that you've lived, and
Well.
I'm so glad to have been a part of a lot of it.
Oh,
So-
you have.
But thank you for sharing a lot of that with us.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Josh.
man, this was great.
Thanks for
Like-
having me. I
Thanks for
appreciate
reminding
it.
me of all
Thank
those
you,
times I
David.
forgot. And,
Thank you, David.
it's really good seeing you.
No, you too, man. I
Like,
miss you.
I've gained hair. You lost some.
I know.
It's-
I know. I'm
it's
going to
such a
cut that
treat.
off, glue it on here. Boom.
Seriously.
Bob's
Dave,
your uncle.
you ready?
Yeah. Thank you, Jacob.
All right. Thanks to our guest, Paul Schiavo. Thank you for listening and spending time with us in Hudson Valley Unleashed. And thanks to our producer, Jacob Hutchings. Look for a new podcast every Tuesday, and all of our shows are available on Apple Music, iHeart, and Spotify. Follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky. Feel free to email us at info@hudsonvalleyunleashed.com with any comments, questions, or suggestions. For Josh Kroner, John Michelle, Jacob Hutchings, I'm Dave Leonard saying goodbye. Until next time, stay unleashed.